You're a newcomer to the staff, just joined right before spring practice. Just kind of talk us through that process. You maybe had a little connection maybe with Coach Grinch. Just kind of how did you get connected to be part of Scott Frost's staff here?
Well, we see that there's some things, some openings, some changes happening there, and I do have a relationship with Grinch. So he was a graduate assistant when I was my first 2 years in Missouri. So there was a connection there, and of course I played for his uncle. I played for Coach Pinkle, and was all-conference safety there for him. So there was a little bit of connection right there.
What's it like to be the new guy fitting into the staff?
I just go out here and have fun. You know what I mean? I come out and have fun, just blend in the way I can, and learn from the guys that have been here before, learn how things work around here. And I just go out there when it's time to go on the field, I just go there and do my thing.
What was that transition like? Not really a rest time for you, just having to jump straight into things.
Yeah, so you gotta be ready to roll. You step right in, and then what happened was when I got hired, I had Grinch say, hey, send me the playbook so I can start at least learning it. So that way when I get out here, I at least know what I'm talking about when I get out here with the guys. And I did, and the players have been great. They've been great. When I first got here, if it was something I wasn't quite sure about, no, coach, we did this last year. I'm like, cool. So I said, you know what? As I'm learning it, I'm gonna make sure we get tight on this technique. But now I'm good. I got the whole defense down.
Was it much of a transition? I mean, you were a lot in the pro level, but is there much of a difference transition from going from the pro level to the college level?
Yeah, football is football. The difference is, when it comes to as far as like talent level, and then also the drop off between first group, second groups, and third groups. You know what I mean? There's always a difference there, because you got to think about it. When you're in high school, you go to college, you were the best player in your high school team. That's how you were able to make it to the Division I program. Then when you go to college, when you work in the NFL, you were the best player on your college team. And so that's kind of how that goes. But I've been able to use that. I've been teaching the guys that too. And so my experience from the NFL, I've been able to talk to them about what it takes to get there, but also what it takes to stay there, but also the things that all pro players I've been fortunate enough to coach, what they do to be able to have the success.
What can you tell us about your coaching philosophy that you bring to this defense?
Yeah, so as you guys can tell, I'm high energy. This is all the time. I don't drink any caffeine. I'm just always wired like this. It's because I just love this game. I love football so much, man. So my biggest thing is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I really want to show my players that I actually truly care about them, not just a number. Like I care about number 7. I don't really care about number 7. I care about Antoine Jackson, like stuff like that. So when you have that investment in your players, you can only coach a player to the depth of your relationship. So the deeper your relationship is, the more you can coach that player. And then, so I do that, but also I like to go out and have fun with these guys. They work really hard to make plays. So when they make plays, we gotta get excited about it.
Coach, what's it like for you to be back at the college level again after so many years coaching in the pros?
Hey, it's actually pretty fun. It's fun getting back with these guys. They are dying to be coached. They got a thirst for knowledge. They always asking questions. They say, well, what did Jalen Johnson do? Or what did Deron Bland do? Like stuff like that. So they want to know, and having those experiences are able to teach them and coach them through it as well.
The fact you have a lot of experience returning, you mentioned Antoine Jackson, he's been here multiple years. Jaden Bellamy's coming back, DJ Bell's coming back. Does that kind of help you in your transition as you're getting to know everything?
Oh yeah, it definitely helps. It definitely helps because you have guys that you can lean on and bounce stuff off of, but also those guys are good for the room. Those guys are great for the room. So like the younger guys, they feed into the younger guys. They push those younger guys, kind of bring them along as well. And just having them there and having experience and knowing what they want to be and where they want to go, I'm able to use my experiences to give it to them to try to help them get to that point.
How are Jackson and Bellamy physically? I know Jackson missed a few practices early. He was out there today. Bellamy didn't look like he was out there during the open portion. How are those guys doing physically?
They're doing a great job getting their treatment. So they in the training room consistently. When they don't have class, they're in there trying to get back, do whatever they need to do to be ready to roll. And the thing is, this is spring, right? We're not playing anybody. All right, we need those guys healthy, real healthy when we get into the fall, and as we roll. Right now, they can do whatever they need to do to get ready to roll. They're doing a great job in the meeting room. When they're on the field, the things they can do, we work it out through there.
What's the biggest stride
What's the biggest difference from a secondary player playing in college to like in the NFL? What have you noticed that's been probably?
It'd be experience.
Just experience.
Yeah, it'd be the experience factor. It'd be the experience factor for the most part. These guys, a lot of guys by that time they kind of understand their bodies. But the thing is though, you get those rookies in there, it's like coaching these guys.
Yeah.
Because now you're teaching them everything. But then you get a more experienced guy, somebody that's been around 5-6 years in the league. They kind of know their body. They know when they need to be in treatment, or they know. Like I had a player before that I could look at the time of day it was, and I knew exactly where he was at the time of day. But that's because that's from experience. That's from knowing what you've done and knowing what you need to do to be right.
What's the biggest stride you think the unit has made so far this spring?
Taking the ball away. We take the ball away. I know last year, Grinch and I talked before, we didn't give enough takeaways on the defense. right? And that's a big emphasis for us, is to take the ball away, and that's what we've been doing.
What do you have to do that better?
Okay, so for one thing, you got to keep the ball in your mind, right? The most important thing in the field is that ball. Nothing matters without that football. They can't score if they ain't got the ball, right? So you're always doing something where the ball is important. And when you watch the tape, you say, hey, you see this right here? This is the PBU. It could have been an interception if you would have done this. Hey, you see this guy running by you right here, you tagged off, you really could punch the ball right here. You see where this guy can get a fumble? He done had the ball tucked to his body. You can get a punch right here. Hey, you can get a rake right here. So it's constantly telling the guys where they can get the ball, how they can get the ball. And then not just that, but projecting interceptions to them. Say, hey man, we put a new defense in. All right, so when you playing this technique, the quarterback doesn't see you right here, this is gonna be your opportunity to steal one. And you put those things in to get guys thinking about getting the ball, and when the ball's on your mind all the time, the things start to happen.
Coach, back during your junior college days, you ended up coaching a player that ended up having quite a moment here at UCF by the name of Mike Hughes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had any connections with Scott Frost, who recruited him back then, but what's it like to be here after seeing what Mike Hughes has done here?
Yeah, it's crazy being back here seeing Mike see his picture on the wall in there. So I took a picture of it, sent it to him. I'm like, man, you're a legend here. So it's cool about that. We actually played Atlanta last year in the preseason, and I got to hang out and talk with Mike, and took some pictures with him. He and I still talk. We still text back and forth every now and again to check on each other, see how we're doing. He's doing great with him, his family, his mom, his sister, and stuff. But coaching that guy and having him to come here and make a memorable moment like he did, the same thing he did in junior college, and then he went to the NFL. He's still making plays.
Yeah, did I end up talking to Coach Frost about that and how you kind of both have that shared player with him?
Yeah, so when I came in on my interview and we were talking about where we had been, and then he didn't even realize that I was the one that had coached Mike at junior college. And I was telling him about it. He's like, Garden City, huh? Why did I know that? I was like, yeah, you had Mike here. He's like, oh, you coached Mike, and then it just kind of went from there. So.
How have you adjusted to recruiting? Because I know in the pro game, it's not necessarily the talent's kind of acquired for you as opposed to trying to go out and get it on your own.
Well, there is some recruiting. So like when you get into free agency in a pro game, you have free agents that you have a list of free agents you want to get. And you might got to call those guys up and tell them why they should come to your team as opposed to going to another. So that's part of it. The other part of it is I like building relationships. So calling these guys, talking to them, and talking to their family members, that's relationship building. And I like being in relationship with people.
What's it like when building these relationships, given your just quick arrival, getting to know these guys and really build a bond with the DBs in the room?
Yeah, you got to be genuine. Like you can't fake somebody because they know when you fake. You can't fake them. So you got to be a genuine person. You got to, when you say you care about somebody, you actually got to truly care about them. So if you ask somebody how they doing, you actually got to really want to know. And that's the thing about it. When you have those genuine relationships, stuff like that, the guys, they feed into it. They understand.
I know you've got football in your blood, but you didn't jump into coaching immediately after playing. Kind of talk about that process and what is it that kind of pulled you back into football? Yeah,
so when I got done playing, I was hurt and my career was done. When I messed my knee up and it was like, I wasn't gonna be able to play again. And I was hurt, man. And it took a lot out of me because I spent my whole life trying to get to that point to where I was able to play in the NFL. And then I just had to get away from it. I was so upset. But then when you love something as much as you do and you've been in it so long, it starts calling you. It's calling you back. So I had to figure out a way to get back into it, and then I did. I got back into it and been rolling ever since, and it's been amazing. I love it. Every day I get up, I'm not going to work. I go out here and have fun. Like I go on the field, it's like recess.
What do you like about your group so far? Who's standing out? Who's making plays for you?
Well, all these guys are getting better every day. I want to say each one of them have been making plays each day to make them stand up and really start to rise. So I really want to see what happens as we continue to go through spring, but really what really picks up in the fall, because that's when you really start figuring out your depth chart and everything from there. But the thing that stands out the most about these dudes is how bad they want to be coached. Like they all the time. Like we have a group text, they'll text, hey coach, this happened. They might have been watching the film before I got a chance to watch the film with them next morning because they wanted to know what could they have done better on plays. You might get a video from somebody. So that's the biggest thing, is how bad these dudes want to get better.
What does that tell you?
I love it. It tells me a lot that it matters to them. It tells that it matters to them, but also tells about the culture that Frost is building here, to where you're getting guys in here that it matters to them. They want to be good.
You mentioned you knew Grinch as a GA back at Missouri. You got any good stories from him from his early days of coaching?
No, I don't know if I got any good stories with Grinch as far as the early days. I just remember him. The crazy thing about it now he cuts his hair real low buzz cut. He didn't used to do that before. Like he had all the wavy stuff going and stuff like that. Ladies man look, that's kind of that was his thing back then.
What's it like working with Grinch as the safeties coach?
Oh, it's good. It's good because you have defense coordinator and the safety coach there, so we can bounce coverage ideas off each other, adjustments that we can make. Like we've already made some adjustments this year that we didn't do last year off of the same coverages. because he's been able to lean into some of my experiences, and I've been able to talk to him. We've been able to have those discussions about how we can pick things up, and it's been really good for us.
It's obviously early in spring, so there's still a lot of work to be done. But UCF's defensive back group was really exceptional in the Big 12 last season, but they struggled with the turnovers. How do you kind of balance keeping that same production while maybe getting a little bit more aggressive?
Yeah, so you emphasize the things they did well, and then once again you put a huge emphasis on the ball, right? You have to consistently talk about getting the football, and that's how you get the takeaways.
Coach, you talk on that genuine connection between you and your guys. Is there anything fun that you guys have been doing off field as a unit?
Nah, not yet. I got to start playing, but I can't tell them. I can't tell y'all either because it's a secret. But no, not. But I'm always texting them. I crack a lot of jokes. I like to tease them, and then when I'm teasing them, they tease each other. So we do that stuff as well. So it's always been fun. A lot of light ribbon.
Your passion for football obviously came from your family. I mean, how did that kind of grow and develop as a kid, and then getting into and playing yourself, and your father played football obviously as well?
Yeah, so I never really wanted to do anything else. Like growing up, a lot of people say, hey, I want to be a policeman, fireman, and all those things. I never said that I want to do anything else than play football. So even when there's a picture of me when I was a baby, I'm holding a little green football. Like my mom, the first thing my dad gave me, I had a green football he gave to me, put in my crib when I was a baby, and I wouldn't do anything without it. Like I wouldn't even take the picture. My mom had the picture where she's like, I cried the whole time until they gave me the ball back. Then they gave me the ball, then I smiled for the picture. So it's what I've always wanted to do. I never wanted to do anything else. So I did, when I got away from ball, I did own a marketing firm for a few years, but like I said, you start missing it. I love it too much.
Always in the back of your
It's
mind.
always. Yeah.
Did you think you were going to play quarterback? I know you were recruited there a little bit out of high school. Then you made the position change in college. Yeah. Kind of talk about that process.
Yeah, I was a quarterback from 7th grade. I was starting from 7th grade all the way through high school. Ended up having some All-American honors in high school, All-State, all that stuff at quarterback. And that kind of went through my recruiting process. When I was going recruiting, a lot of people were recruiting me, say, hey, we can get you to play defensive back, receiver, running back, stuff like that. I was like, man, I want to play quarterback. And one of the ways I went to Missouri was like they were going to let me play quarterback. So I went to quarterback, and I was there my whole freshman year. And there was a guy in front of me that only had 1 year ahead of me. His name was Brad Smith, and Brad was a Heisman candidate, right? I was like, I ain't gonna never get on this field. so he was 1 year ahead of me, and he's one of my closest friends then and still now. So I was like, I went and talked to Coach Pick. I was like, I got to find we get on the field. And I moved over to safety after my freshman year, ended up being a 4-year starter. So I probably should have just got recruited as safety in the first place.
Having that quarterback experience, does that help you as a DB coach?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Understanding offenses, having that quarterback experience, like telling where the offense wants to go, talking about pre-snap indicators. Hey, if these guys are running these concepts, what the quarterback wants to do with the football, it's huge coaching the guys because you can kind of tell them things as well. And one of the things I've done over my career is not just lean on the defensive side, always trying to talk to the offensive coaches about what they're looking for, or guys who train the quarterbacks, our quarterback coaches, when you're teaching these reads, how you teaching these reads. So now when I'm coaching the DBs, I'm telling them, hey, he's doing this, but this is what he's thinking about. So you can kind of get guys where they need to be before they can get there.
Did you connect with Scott Frost about that? He had to make a similar transition from quarterback to DB during his playing career as well.
Yeah, we did. We talked about that when he was in, of course, in New England and in Tampa, making that switch as well. And he was able to get coached by some guys that are some mentors for me, Raheem Morris and Mike Tomlin, who are also two guys that I talked to, that are mentors as well. That's big for him.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.